All right, what's good? What's good? This is my Black Speculative Fiction Month video, and it is a really different Black Speculative Fiction Month than I think the last two, and I don't know if we did it like 3-4 years in a row, but this is the biggest one that I can remember. And the reason why I say it's the biggest one is because, I've been on the phone, I've been texting people, I have my stuff prepared to send out. I've been posting pretty much every day, mostly on Facebook. I do the Instagram thing, but I really wanted to focus on it today because, this is the first Black Speculative Fiction Month after Black Panther. And man, Black Panther is still influential and impactful. But the thing about Black Panther, that's, I guess the biggest thing is that it didn't come out of a vacuum, right? Black Panther is the proof, it's the trump card, or I don't like to say Trump, I don't want to use it for nothing. But it's the proof in the pudding. It's the call to question. It's, all of those different things. It's the culmination of what we've been building on ever since, say, the 90s. And when we started asking, joking about the black person being the first person to die in a horror movie, or the roles that black people were getting in film, that progressed to talking about, seeing ourselves in books, seeing ourselves in role-playing games, seeing ourselves in comic books, in the superheroes, and all of that stuff culminated and has had an impact to build up to, we need to be, what's wrong with us having our own movie? And Black Panther brought all of that. We are African. Our African is going to be future. What does the future of Africa look like? What's the future of African Americans? What's the future of Afro-Caribbeans? All of that came together in Black Panther. It just didn't come out of nowhere. And I've been talking about those various different things. Two conversations that I'm going to really kind of expand on in this particular blog. I think one of them, the first, was something that I was feeling, for a minute, and I'll say it's something that I think people said in film, and it's something that they're saying now in books, in publishing, and that is, African people are from Africa, and they've been dispersed throughout the world. No question. I call myself an African American, okay? Because I'm an African born in America, all right? And I have a significant experience because I've only visited Africa. I never lived there. I don't know the languages. I know of the people. I know of the culture, but I never was raised in the culture. So I have a unique experience. I had a plantation owner, an enslaver. I didn't have a colonizer. Very much like the Caribbeans, I learned their culture. I learned my oppressor's culture, like Africans in England, And my experience here has given me and my group of Africans a unique perspective. This perspective is no holds barred. We talk about our oppression in our dramas, in our horrors, Get Out, right? We talk about it in our sci-fi. It's a part of us. When we act, we bring our attitude. We love ourselves as a resistance to loving our oppressor, right? So we're very hard on interracial relationships in our stories and in our films. So we bring that resistance. Now, that's very unique to African Americans and somewhat Afro-Africans in the Caribbean, right? But mostly with African Americans, because we really have a unique experience in that regard. Now, other Africans from England and probably even from Africa have a different experience with things that are white, right? So, man, I'm really going really far away with this, but follow me. So I think part of the resistance to black characters, whether it in film or book, or even black writers, whether they write film or they write book or comic book, right? We'll throw that in the mix too, is that African Americans may throw racism into their stories, and it would be almost a different thing. It become a factor. We want to put them with this white co-star. Is that going to be a problem? It probably would be a problem for African Americans. So let's not cast them. If we're going to give them a publishing deal, what are they going to write about? You understand? That becomes an issue. So it almost is like Public Enemy said, fear of a black planet, right? Don't give them a black planet, or let them think of a black planet. Their black planet is going to kill the white planet, that can be legitimate fears. So but we do need diversity. So let's look towards the friendly person from another part of the African world. Maybe they come from Africa, and they're not going to bring that intolerance, that lack of patience with things that are white, or they might not bring that frustration towards things that are white that the black American writer may bring, the African American writer, the African American actor may bring. So in my mind, that played a factor, right? So we'll see, Idris Elba. We'll see a lot of what's the one that played Martin Luther King? I can't remember, but we'll see a lot of these actors from Africa and other parts of the world getting put on, and African Americans was like, yo, what's going on? Same thing with African writers. We've got a lot of writers. I mean, they're winning awards for their first books out the gate. They're winning awards without being even known anywhere in these communities. And so something like that becomes a factor, or at least something that affects the undertone of, man, I'm gonna scratch this. I don't even know where I'm going. I mean, I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, because I feel like I'm stepping on people's toes. But it definitely feels like we are having an avoidance of the African American storyline. And maybe I will archive this video, and after I get better evidence, I'll put it out. I'm not gonna put this one out now. This is 2018 October. But this because it's too much jumping around with things in social media, and people taking stuff out of context. So I'm gonna record that I said this stuff, but I'm not gonna put it out, because I don't want to say that some of the writers that have won are undeserving, right? I'm not gonna say that. Just like a lot of black actors don't want to say that Idris Elba, my man who co-starred with Denzel in American Gangster, my man played Dr. King, all these African, Lupita, who, played in 12 Years a Slave. All these actors and Africans, they are brothers and sisters. And I don't want to throw no shade on them, you understand? No shade. I'm not throwing no shade. I'm just recognizing that these oppressors are slick. You understand? And it's not going to work, because as we can see with Black Panther, the reality is, we're going to get our dreams out there. Not only that, we ain't really that concerned with killing white people in our stories. You understand what I'm saying? We got our own, we had Killmonger as our own villain, and, you know, it really wasn't no white threat that was there. He wanted to deal with the white problem, but we didn't have to deal with it in the story to make our story great. So I don't know what their fear is, you know what I'm saying, of blackness, but sometimes people project what they would do onto the people that they've done things to. So if I'm a vindictive person and I'm slapping you around, then I'm going to assume that when you get a chance to deal with me, you're going to slap me around too. So I think that's probably more of what I'm suggesting in that. And there was more to it. It just took so long for me to outline this. I don't really feel that this was a good video on that. But, you know, there was another African writer who came out with an article, I think in September. I'll say September, but it may have been the start of October, right? And she was writing, saying that Africans should not, Afrofuturism is not for Africans. And I totally get what she was trying to say. I don't necessarily agree with it for a couple of reasons, but I understand a little bit of it. I live in Miami area of Florida, and I'm from the New York area. I'm from New Jersey. And I remember how dominant New York hip hop got. And in the South, people were like, you don't have to act like a New Yorker to be cool. And thus, they resisted some of the stereotypes and the trends that came from New York and New York hip-hoppers. And, you know, that's when the South started to stand up. Now, mind you, this was Outkast. This was Trick Daddy. Who else? Lil Jon. Right around Master P, like right after Master P, you know, Mystical and all of them. More so like with Young Money, not Young Money. What's Baby's group? Oh God, I hope Baby don't see this. He try to kill me. Lil Wayne and all of that energy, they started to stand up in a sense by saying, yo, we are cool too. It's almost like how California did it when hip hop went out there. NWA was like, yo, y'all got New York, but we cool too. And I think that same energy is what this writer was saying. It was like, you know, I love Afrofuturism. Y'all got Black Panther, right? No doubt, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? But we Africans. We ain't got to act like Africans who are trying to act like Africans. What? No, we got the authentic culture. So our culture should be the one that's leading the trends. You know, so as much as I have a putback on Western or white publishing companies avoiding African Americans and putting African writers on, maybe this writer felt that the world is putting on Africans from England, Africans from America, Africans from the Caribbean on over Africans from Africa, you know, and she was defending and standing up on African cultures and traditional values and saying those things should be what we read about. And, you know, I'm all for that. The only problem that I had with what she was saying was two things. One, yo, don't hate futurism. Futurism is something that we all need. I don't care what culture you're looking at. Every culture should be thinking about the future. And that's the importance of Black Speculative Fiction Month. It celebrates our thinking. I made the comment that, you know, if Africans and heck, even Native Americans would have had more futuristic projections and speculations about these Arabs and these Europeans that were coming, they had numbers enough to deal with them and put them in check to the point where we wouldn't have had gotten them North America and South America conquered. We probably wouldn't have had no slave trade. We would have dealt with them hand, real good, but we didn't speculate that they was going to have guns and use them. We should have been learning how to make guns long time. We should have gone up into the trees, into the jungle, and made some guns and come down out of the hills and just cleared them off of our beaches. But we didn't speculate, so or whatever our calculations was wrong. I'm not going to say we didn't, but our calculations was wrong, both here in North America and on the continent. And now the next thing that I say is, not only should you should read African American or Afrofuturism from an African standpoint, you should read everybody's futurism. Chinese futurism, Indian futurism, European futurism, Arab futurism, because their futurism is telling you what they want to do, what they think will happen in the world. And if we're going to be around in the world, African people and Native Americans, we should know the importance of projecting the future and understanding what other people want to do with this planet and the people on this planet. So that's really the importance of black speculative fiction, I guess, from a real progressive standpoint. I started off real wrong. I still don't know if I'm going to post this video, but I'm going to save it because I think what I'm saying is going to have some bearing on the future because I'm a real futurist, not just a writer. But I will say this. My next blog, I'm going to talk about the stress relieving factors of black speculative fiction for black people and how it addresses stress and all that, because that's really more so what I write. I write fun stories. My stories aren't, intricate high-level sci-fi. I write low-level sci-fi. So anyway, it's enough said. I'll probably bail myself out, but the haters are going to come. The trolls, bring it on. Peace.